Sean Duffy made a great point when decided to say that we all should consider dressing up a little bit better in public. And I shared this in my column, the Daily Note, and I got so much response to that column that I wanted to share some of it with you. And many of you took it in ways that I hadn't considered, and I think it's well worth further discussion. So John Greenbaum on Substack said that a broken clock is right twice a day. Now, how about Sean Duffy actually do something about our messed up air traffic system? I think you could also argue that people are responding to corporations tearing up the social contract. Like we're acting out at an unconscious level after realizing that these predatory businesses have been conspiring to make our lives more difficult in order to maximize profit. Wow. We see skyrocketing inequality, billionaires with unimaginable riches, while we try to figure out how to deal with health insurance and utility increases. They told us that they don't care about us. They rigged the system. This is how we respond. Admittedly, it isn't the best response. I agree with you on that one, Sean. But I think you can't make sense of pajamas without trying to see the context. I, I what a response. Now, I on one level, I totally understand what John is getting at. Look, we're all seeing crushing, crushing inequality in our system. And that inequality is manifesting in our lives in a lot of different ways. And I'm not just talking about at the grocery store. I'm not just talking about in our paychecks. I'm talking about in how we interact with each other. And I can certainly see how we dress being affected on this. I see this in terms of Crocs. Now, I hate Crocs. I think Crocs are awful. And I think they're uncomfortable. But beyond that, these are cheap plastic shoes. And I prefer to have some leather on my feet instead of cheap plastic on my feet. And what we're seeing is these Crocs are now in public. They're everywhere. They're all the time. And I think that folks are in part resorting to this because of the desperation of the cost of a pair of shoes being much, much more. And because this increasingly lack of care and this increasingly feeling, all of us increasingly feeling helpless, feeling that we're shoving a boulder uphill just by going through day-to-day lives. And I think that manifests itself in various ways in how we dress. And I think in that way, it happens with Crocs. I think that's definitely true about what's happening on airplanes. On the other hand, John, I love you, but man, it's asking you to put on some pants on an airplane. It's not asking too much, man. That's not asking you to completely tackle inequality. We don't need to completely restructure our system before we dress a little bit better. Uh, it would be nice if you could do both, but we don't need to do one in order to do the other. We can dress with dignity and pride without the system rewarding us for it. If you get where I'm going with my drift there. Now, Rajesh, another response from Substack, he argues that no one is giving up, that Wimbledon had a dress code until the Williams sisters challenged it. Now we should put on airs for the bourgeoisie aesthetics. Should we wear a corporate uniform? You have it precisely backwards. The rich have already enclosed and privatized nearly all aspects of the commons. This pajama thing is just a quiet protest against all the pomp and circumstance. It is the public taking back over the public. You think Jesus would put on fancy shoes just to enter the church? Nah, man. He should go barefoot and wear sandals. I'm not saying that we shouldn't wear sandals. I don't like sandals, by the way. I never wear sandals. They are uncomfortable for me. But that's not my argument. My argument isn't whether we should wear sandals or not. My argument is that we should not, and I mean, we absolutely should not take our sleeping clothes into public. I don't think that's asking too much. And I found it fascinating that that it immediately becomes a political argument, whether it is a true fight of that nature or not. It's it truly speaks to the culture war aesthetic of now, that we are in a place where whether we want to or not, we're going to have a fight that's political. Any discussion of the public space and the public commons instantly becomes political, whether it's meant to or not. Does anyone else find that troubling? I certainly do. I mean, there's no need to get into this sort of class warfare fight when we are simply talking about dressing with a little bit of pride. At least that's my perspective. Am I wrong here? Let me know. You can join me at jamesabrown.net.